What's up YouTube, Capital G here, got an absolutely sick play for you guys to check out, and I'm not gonna lie, this might be the most convoluted play I have ever seen in my entire life. This is actually going to be the first dual FTK that I've personally ever seen. Maybe you guys have seen others in the past. Now that almost sounds like an oxymoron, right? Like a dual FTK. Why on earth would you need two FTKs in Yu-Gi-Oh! Cap G? As long as you get the first one off, obviously your opponent loses. Well, you never know, man. Things can go bad. You just never know if your opponent has the one out to your FTK. So you gotta have a backup FTK as, you know, part of the game plan, I guess. Anyways, I'm gonna roll this because this shit is gonna take a very long time to actually pan out. And I'll explain as I feel necessary. So first off, you got the Cock-a-doodle-doo, Witch of the Black Forest, go on the Needle Fiber, get yourself a Surge, and you're going to get the summon from Needle Fiber. That's going to get you Ryu Okami, and what that's going to do, you're going to summon it to your opponent's side of the field with Summon Sorceress. Now, don't get me wrong, I've seen a bunch of Ryu Okami Summon Sorceress plays. Generally, I don't have them on my channel anymore because I'm like, I've already done that like 3-4 times before. What's the point of continuing on? What you generally do excuse me, with Ryu Okami is every time you special summon, you get to dump a monster into from the extra deck into the graveyard. Usually you dump things like Herald of the Arclight, Cyber, Dragon Nova, and then they trigger because your opponent controls the Okami. So your opponent ends up kind of just being fucked over by the fact that you gave them the monster, and you want to basically build a super powerful stun board off of that. Now you see that he's really not going for that stun board, and a lot of times you will see players ritual summon. This is going to be part of the game plan right here. You need to make TG Hyper Librarian. Now, as soon as that hit the field, I was thinking, okay, so he must want to draw cards because TG Hyper Librarian generally means you're trying to draw something out or you're going for Quasar plays. But if you were going for Quasar plays, why would you be, I don't know, like continually ritual summoning? And this is where the OTK, well, excuse me, the FTK actually takes place. And now you can see what it is, right? You see that it obviously is drawing Exodia, and this actually is an infinite draw play. You have your Meteor Burst Dragon on field. This is your other synchro that you're going to use to summon. And I believe, yeah, where's she at? Here she's going to summon herself. Noble Magician is actually going to constantly be sent to the graveyard. And then she's actually, well, she's being sent to the graveyard off of the effect of Okami. And then you actually summon her back off of her effect. And you use your 2 copies of your Meteor Burst Dragon to constantly synchro summon. Your Omega puts them back into your extra deck so that you never actually run out. So it is basically, it's essentially an infinite draw play. Now, when I saw that, I was like, okay, this is pretty obvious. We're trying to draw out Exodia. Now, I don't know if you guys have noticed this. We're at 23 cards, right? So we got a long way probably before we hit the Exodia pieces because decks like these, you have to run a bunch of like shitty cards to kind of make sure your combo goes off. And you have to do a ton of special summoning before you even draw 1 card. So we're at 21 cards. It took a long time just to draw 2 cards, right? It's a lot of steps involved. And I thought, all right, well, I guess it's only a matter of time until we draw Exodia. We just got another piece. Not really that big of a deal. But I know some of you guys are like, Cap G, this is clickbait confirmed. You said that there was actually going to be a dual FTK, not just one. We've seen Exodia infinite draws before. Yes, and don't worry, it is coming. There is a backup plan, even though he has now 3 pieces of Exodia so far. I guarantee you there is a backup plan. I'm just actually stalling until he draws it. Come on, freaking draw that card. No, he drew a Witch of the Black Forest. I told you this was convoluted, and it takes a very, very long time. As soon as he does get the card, I'll make sure that I explained it and I paused. Finally, he got it. All right. There's our alternate win condition, right? So the alternate win condition, or where the dual FTK actually comes in, is with this card, Synchronized Realm. And I bet you $1 million Konami never thought that this card could actually be broken or could actually be exploited. It says each time you synchro summon a monster, inflict 500 damage to your opponent. Now, since we're obviously infinitely synchro summoning, that means that we can burn our opponent to death. Now, the very interesting thing here is we have 16 cards left in our deck, and we can synchro summon 16 times before our opponent dies. So now we have to ask ourselves the question, which will happen first? Will our opponents burn to death, or will we actually draw Exodia? That's where the fun part kind of comes in. 16 synchro summons are necessary for us to burn our opponent to death. We have 16 cards left in our deck, and actually he does have the option of potentially adding a card back to his deck with Omega. I don't think he would do that, but yeah, that's just kind of where the fun comes in. I would probably say that we'll draw Exodia before we actually burn the opponent to death, but just in case, if you would actually happen to get this card earlier in the duel, or if you actually open with this card, then you wouldn't actually need to draw Exodia. So it would just be a quicker way of actually burning your opponent. Or, well, no, I'm trying to think. If you got hit with Droll and Lockbird, yeah, if you got hit with Droll and Lockbird, you still should be able to like continue with this play. I don't know if there's I think there might be enough there. No, I don't know. If you got hit with Droll and Lock early, I feel like you probably wouldn't be able to I feel like there's no way that you'd actually be able to FTK your opponent. I'm thinking about you not being able to draw off of TG Hyper Librarian, but all the other adding and all the other stuff with like with all the other cards, I just don't think that you would be able to go off. But you see that obviously he's running Call by the Grave. Every single FTK deck is running 2 copies of Call by the Grave, Red Reboot, all that other stuff. So yeah, this play does take a while. Oh, actually no, he changed it. Now we're doing 1,000 damage. You know what? I'm taking bets again. I'm letting you guys change your minds. Now we're doing 1,000 damage per synchro summon. We only need to synchro summon 5 more times. Which will happen first? Will we draw Exodia or will we actually burn him? I totally forgot that he plays a second copy. This is even more spicy than I thought. So yeah, now we're doing way more burn damage than it takes for us to, draw Exodia. So this is interesting. I actually don't remember what happens because I was like, I don't need to watch this entire thing. I'll just wait until I do it live because it was taking so damn long. This is going to be a 10-minute video and I'm not even going to have to try to stretch the video. Let's see. So now we just need 3 more synchro summons, but will we draw Exodia first? That is the great question that we have to ask ourselves. I think we're going to burn him. I feel like Exodia is going to be like the last card. Red Reboot, we only need 2 more summons, so if this last card is not Exodia, well, yeah, actually, we need 2 pieces, so I don't think that there's any way that we can actually, it'd be so troll if he didn't even play all 5 pieces of Exodia. No! He won by Exodia! He won by, I guess we had 4 pieces already. No! We were 1 card away from burning him to death. Rip. Oh man, my world just came crashing down. I definitely would have bet on him burning his opponent to death. I still think it would have been so troll if he didn't actually play all 5 pieces of Exodia. He just played like 4, like that would have been hilarious. But let me pause for a second. I'm gonna show you guys what the deck looks like. I'm not gonna explain that much because, like, I mean, seriously, you just saw the entirety of the deck. I'm not sure that there's so much to explain. Okay, so here's what the deck looks like on paper. As I did say before, we saw just about every single card that was used in the duel. Some of the highlights include, obviously, Ryu Okami. It's a Ryu Okami deck at its core, although I guess it's an Exodia deck at the same time. Summon Ryu Okami to your opponent's side of the field, off of Summon Sorceress, and then basically you can just kind of do whatever you want at that point. You are going to need a pretty tight extra deck. All of these Ryu Okami decks run kind of like the same cards. They run things like Cyber Dragon Nova. There's Herald of the Art Light somewhere in here. You're going to run Omega. Now, generally, you'll see multiple copies of these cards, and these decks won't run things like TG Hyper Librarian or Odd Eyes Meteor Burst Dragon, but for this deck in specific, you're going to need that because we saw that it is kind of like an Exodia draw deck, but we had the backup win condition of Synchronized Realm. I guess you could run 3 copies of this just to kind of make sure that you get it early, but I don't really think that it's necessary. I think I'd rather have the combo cards because you are trying to go for Exodia if you have that option, and that's more kind of like a guaranteed FTK. Plus, you need your combo cards to like get the deck rolling. This is kind of just like a second alternate win condition. If for some reason, I don't know, like your opponent just like mind crushes one of your Exodia pieces or something like that, because there's no firewall, so you have no ways of getting the Exodia pieces back into your hand. If you're going seconds, although I guess you got Red Reboot, so it wouldn't be that big of a problem. I'm not used to seeing people play Speedroids in a deck and run something other than Take Tambor in Terra Top. I usually just see these 2, but Speedroid Tri Dice, this is a tuner monster, so it can help you go into your Crystron Needle Fiber. I'm guessing that's the only reason that it is used, because, you can go this, Terra Top, you can search this guy, you can summon it, boom, out comes Needle Fiber, and that kind of just gets you where you want to go. Or you can summon it off of Needle Fiber, so I guess that definitely makes sense. But yeah, this is just kind of what the deck looks like. Actually, hold on, no, you know what? Oh my god, this is a legal deck. This from last format, boom, there we go. I just noticed that it has 3 Called by the Graves. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. There's no Upstart Goblin. Let's make this a legal deck. Upstart Goblin. Boom. This deck is now legal. I'm like, wait a minute. Call by the Grave is semi-limited. This was from last format. We're going to take out a Call by the Grave. We're going to add in Instant Fusion. No harm, no foul. This is now a 100% legal deck in the TCG. This is the old ban list. Come on, freaking Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro 2. Can I get a new ban list? Anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed the short duel, and of course the short deck profile as well. If you did, give the video a thumbs up. Let me know what you thought in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching. As always, subscribe if you have not already, and turn on that notification bell for daily videos.